Nagi Seshido locked off, never able to play for the U20 team. Other Blue Lockers also getting locked off, and Ego explaining why that is in the most ruthless way possible. Blue Lock Chapter 299 just dropped. Let's talk about it. So chapter starts right at the end of the Manshine versus FC Barca game, with Otoya and Bachida celebrating their final goal, with both Nagi and Reo horrified at these results. Mainly Reo more than anyone. I don't think I've ever seen that face from him ever. With the narrator saying, with Spain's victory, the last place is confirmed. The future of Nagi and Reo is separated. And in the very next page, we see Nanase surprised at the fact that he made number 23, with him saying, I survived? Followed by Raichi, Kiyota, and Zontetsu saying their own lines, realizing that they're safe. And then in the very next page, we see all the people who did not make it into the top 23. Those being none other than Tokimitsu, Hayate, Neo, Darai, Hiragi, Wanima, Himizu, Haiji, Cho, Wakatsuki, Kitsunazato, Nishioka, and Igagori. Mind you, this is like 80% of the Japanese U20 team. And then in the next page, we see Igagori look at his ranking in absolute despair, with Ego saying, this concludes the final salary auction announcement. Those who did not make it in the top 23, lock off. You are no longer needed in Blue Lock. But hey, we get the weekly Shido cameo. That's kind of nice. And they even have a loser's gate for everyone who did not make it to go through. Don't let it hit you on the way out. I'm sure that's what Ego's thinking right now. Then cut to Isagi saying, wait, Ego, why didn't Nagi make it? With Ego explaining he couldn't contribute to the match. He had some shiny moments, but the disparity between good and bad was too big. A player of this quality gets a relative salary. So already starting with the sneak disses here, my goodness. With Ego continuing by saying, that's all. With Isagi saying, but Nagi's talent, followed by Reo cutting in, where we get to see Reo on the screen and Isagi's quadrant, saying, please redo it. That's weird. There's no way this isn't right. With Isagi saying, Reo. And as Reo tries to plead Nagi's case like a terrible lawyer that he is, because it doesn't help him, trust me, he says to Ego his talent is recognized in the world. He's not always at his best, but there are miracle plays that only Nagi can do. He's certainly a genius. He's too good to end like this, right? With Reo continuing by saying, so please do the calculations once more. And this pisses Ego off. I mean, like, pushes him over the edge. With him saying, shut your mouth. This isn't a daycare, you peace-seeking idiot. I said in the beginning, this is a laboratory to make the world's best. With Reo stumbling over his words and Ego saying, and what did you just say? He's a genius? About to make Reo eat his words. With Ego continuing by saying, you're joking. It should be clear with this outcome right now. Seshiro Nagi's talent has already withered, with Reo saying, what? And Ego here is getting beyond pissed. And so, just like in the classic Ego fashion, he starts to explain. Talent isn't about believing in one's abilities. It's about proving one's abilities that comes before. That's why talent is changing, affected by the environment and mental friends and rivals. Goals and feelings can amplify or stifle one's talent. Sometimes it leads to results beyond talent. Seshiro Nagi's fake volley in the third match was just that. So again, low-key sneak dissing him, but he's not wrong. In that moment, he unexpectedly proved he's more than his talent. Then you guys created the illusion that this was your true power, and that's what the world came to expect from Seshiro Nagi. What you should have done was discipline yourselves and admit these results were more than talent. But the biggest crime was that with this goal. Zero reproducibility whatsoever, so it doesn't really mean much. At least that's what I'm getting from Ego. As everyone listens to what Ego has to say, he says Nagi Seshido fulfilled his dream of winning against Yoichi Isagi. You know what the biggest reason a talent withers away? Loss of hope? Despair? Fear? No. It's satisfaction. In truth, he didn't have the strength to win against Yoichi Isagi. He won by a fluke. With desires freed, a beast with full stomach forgets how to hunt. This fire won't come back. At this point in the match, he should have overcame it by himself. Even if it's painful, and even if he lost, he should have kept burning that insatiable ego. Mind you, Ego is saying all this while in the flow. Bro is hating in the flow. Wow. Bro must have really wanted to do this for a while. Oh, he's locked in now. He's really locked in. And as Reo looks on in pure absolute horror, Ego says that choice to team up killed Seshiro Nagi's talent. And Reo even realizes that now. He realizes it. Ego continuing by saying, by then it had already withered. You were hoping that with this talent that can never bloom again would flourish and kept watering it. Mikage Reo. And with blue tears rolling down Reo's face, get it? Because that's the title of the chapter. Ego says, well, in the end, you only talked about being the best, but couldn't find a bigger fire other than winning against Isagi, Seshiro Nagi. With Reo saying, stop, stop. And Ego saying, you were satisfied, right? That's why you got scared of losing what surrounds you right now. With Reo saying, please stop, followed by Ego saying, shut up. This is Blue Lock. And then a double page with Ego in all his might. He says, only crazy dreamers who won't stop until they reach the world's top belong here. If you're a sensible man, satisfied with anything below that, go home, Seshiro Nagi. Already off the bat, people are like, oh, if. He said if. If. So if he says no, then he'll not leave. No, that's not how that works. He's gone. He's gone. Just accept it. He's gone. And then in the final page, we see Reo and Nagi right next to each other, with Reo crying over the fact that Nagi is now gone. With Nagi unsure of what to say, followed by the narrator saying, our unfulfilled dream. In the midst, Nagi speaks to Reo. With the next chapter being called Innocent, with no break happening next week. This should come as no surprise to anyone. Ego is right. And it's just a hard pill to swallow. Time and time again, we gave Nagi the benefit of the doubt. Hopefully he'll change. Maybe he'll do this. Maybe he'll do that. And never pulled through. This should come as no surprise to anyone. And if I was Ego, I would have been pissed too. And I would have done the exact same thing he did. So just like that, Nagi Seshiro is now locked off.